We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota. And there's one person who can end this now.
Tonight's red-hot video, delusional Democrats like Tampon Tim, once again comparing ICE involvement in Minnesota to the Holocaust to bolster their agenda. The U.S. Holocaust Museum isn't too fond of his remarks. The museum spoke out against the Democrats' politically charged statements, referencing the Holocaust, saying this on X. Anne Frank was targeted and murdered solely because she was Jewish. Leaders making false equivalencies to her experience for political purposes is never acceptable. Despite tensions in Minneapolis, exploiting the Holocaust is deeply offensive, especially as anti-Semitism emerges. Alex, are the children of Minneapolis, are they literally Anne Frank? Is Tim Walz onto something here, or is he just sowing more distrust as Trump sort of tries to find a happy medium to the situation?
You know, this comes back. This is a type of accusation that maybe worked in 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
In 2020, yeah, back then, you know, but now it's become one of those things where if everybody's a Nazi, nobody's a Nazi at this point. I mean, I've heard everybody being called up to this point, and then the U.S. Holocaust Museum is now saying, actually, Tim Walz, you are the one being anti-Semitic. I'm just waiting for this to come full circle, and someone accused the U.S. Holocaust Museum of being anti-Semitic at this point, because that's how this all comes cyclically, I guess.
It's just the Spider-Man meme of everyone pointing at each other and calling each other Nazis. But seriously, Daniel, okay, so you have a bunch of Democrats saying, Republicans, can't you see that ICE has gone too far? Again, ICE didn't do this shooting, it was Border Patrol. And you have, you know, squishy Republicans. Look, I'm a squish sometimes. I'm like, oh, okay, let's do it like the nice way. But like, how does this engender any faith that this is an honest compromise? That if Trump says, okay, all right, we'll dial back the raids, just give us the criminals in the jails. How on earth can you trust that when you have Walz saying that ICE and Border Patrol are made of Nazis?
Yeah, I think most Americans would support getting true violent criminals. I think, you know, if you jaywalk, I don't think that's something that Americans would support. Oh, that person has to be sent back to El Salvador. But I think what happened, unfortunately, is that there have been kind of these quotas. Remember, they wanted 3,000 illegal immigrants arrested a day. And when you have quotas, then there becomes more sweeps and more less targeted operations at rapists and murderers, and more picking up dishwashers and landscapers, and that's not popular with the American people. And so I think that, you know, that's what we're seeing, and that's why we're seeing Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who's not a liberal, saying the administration should recalibrate what's happening, because you're not seeing the respect for law enforcement.
Recalibration is not comparing someone to the Nazis who kept Anne Frank up in her secret attic for 761 days out of fear, certain capture, fear of certain murder, because she was a Jew. That is not the same thing, Daniel.
As a Jewish American, this is not rhetoric that I would ever use, because I do think it's totally different.
761 days Anne Frank spent up there.
And 6 million Jews killed in the Holocaust, and you have 2 Americans here now.
It's cheap. It's political, and it's inciting the same riots that were incited in 2020 by him and the great mayor there in Minneapolis, and he continues to do it.
And it just,
shame on him.
I think the word of the day has to be trust, because nothing the Democrats are doing or giving me any.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.